Hi guys, my name is Francesca and welcome back to the Normalize The Conversation series. And today I'm here with Sunayana and she's a health psychologist and I'm just so excited to have you join me. I absolutely love your Instagram page. You share some amazing content. It's so positive. It's so helpful, insightful. I just think you're absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Francesca. I'm so happy to be here. And yeah, let's get started. And I love what you're doing as well. Honestly,
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much. So tell me a little bit about yourself and why you decided to start your page.
It was the year 2020, the year of the pandemic, when I saw up close and personal how everyone was being affected by the pandemic. My family, myself included. And the uncertainty and, the depressing news and everything about it, was one of the reasons. And the other reason was no one was really talking about the elephant in the room. Everyone, my friends included, we were talking about how the economy was plummeting and, how we were financially affected by it and all sorts of things, but no one was really talking about, our mental health. All of us were definitely going through trying times. So, no one was addressing that. And after a bit, people started talking about it. And then I realized that a lot of information was distorted and a lot of misinformation was online. And finally, I had some time on my hands. I was working from home. Well, not really working, but I was at home. And I thought, now is maybe the time to do something that I always wanted to do, which was to normalize the conversation around mental health. So that's how the whole page thing started.
Well, I love that. And you're on the perfect series because this is Normalize the Conversation. So there you go.
Yeah. God knows we need a lot more to be done on this. Yes.
We do. We need to be opening these conversations. And I love what you said about it being distorted because there's so much incorrect information out there. And for someone who's really just discovering what mental health is and mental wellness versus mental illness and trying to figure out where they lie on that spectrum and what coping mechanisms may help them, the wrong information can be so hurtful. And
That's right. I was just reading the other day, I think this was in the US, wherein they found that 90% of 19 to 22-year-olds who showed, symptoms of depression, they were getting their information from blogs, from posts, from social media. So it's really important that the information out there is real and true, So yeah, you're right. Completely agree. Yes.
And for example, I'm a mental health advocate, but I'm not a licensed professional. And I spend hours researching before I put anything out there because you can't put the wrong information out there. And there's a lot of advocates out there who want to help, but sometimes they don't do the research, they don't look into it, and they just share something that's incorrect. And they tend to be influencers sometimes, and that information goes out to millions of people. And it causes a lot of problems. And we don't really talk about that. There was this trend on TikTok. Do you know what TikTok is? I'm not very familiar with it. I don't have a TikTok.
I am not. Honestly, this whole thing is new to me. Instagram, my personal account had hardly, I think, 10 followers, when I first started out. So I'm very new to this and I'm still learning. But I'm guessing, I think TikTok is a big thing now and really influences the youngsters there, right?
It does.
Everywhere, I'm guessing. Yeah.
So I don't have a TikTok, so I haven't seen too much of it. But somebody was telling me about this trend where people were telling them how to lose weight in 10 days or how to eat only 1,200 calories a day. And it's like misinformation like that and telling people that it's healthy to only eat 1,200 calories a day. that you
That's
can
right.
lose 10 pounds in 10 days. It's
Yes.
so dangerous. And that's
Yes.
something that really blew up over the pandemic. And I think we're
Absolutely.
starting to see the impacts of that now.
Yes, that's right. And even when it comes to mental health, you have so much superficial information out there. It's about, well, self-care tips, which are lovely. And I guess a bubble bath does help. But then, something a little more than that, maybe,
Exactly.
so these are the kind of Instagram posts that would really help youngsters or help anybody, wherein you just want to know more and you want the real thing and you just don't want fluff, and get that superficial information. So you're right, there are a lot of trends out there. And, sadly, at least things like weight loss, you could maybe, talk about it with your friends and then someone tells you that it doesn't work. But things like mental health, wherein there is a stigma attached to it, you don't really discuss it with people around
Exactly.
you. And when you don't get a chance to talk about it, you sort of believe what you hear or what you read. So it gets all the more difficult when it comes to sensitive topics like mental health. You're right.
It really does. And
Yeah.
with that stigma we've created around mental health, there's certain words that we've associated with mental health and mental illness, like maniac, lunatic,
Oh, yes.
psycho.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
when someone may have some depressive episodes, instead of reaching out for help, a lot of times they're scared because they don't want to get diagnosed with depression because they don't want to have a mental illness.
Oh,
and
yes.
that creates a lot of problems with people because they can't get the help that they need, and that's leading to an increase in our suicide rate. And we're really seeing that now with the pandemic because people are afraid to reach out for help. Getting help is very difficult because getting a therapist appointment has been very, very difficult for a lot of people. The wait has been very extended. And a lot of tips on social media, like you said, self-care, a bubble bath. I was having this conversation with the founder of the More Than Mental Project, Ramesh Heron, and he was like, retail therapy, great therapy for 5 minutes, but
Yes,
that's
exactly.
not self-care. That's not a coping mechanism. That is delaying feeling the pain. It's a distraction.
Exactly.
And people
At
don't
least
realize the distinction.
You're right. At least the problem with, I think, where you're from is that you have a long wait list to meet someone. Where I'm coming from, we don't even have that, opportunity to go and meet a therapist. I'm talking about a lay person. I am from a country which is still, developing in every way. And, where we are not able to even get basic things like food on the plate. And so mental health comes way down the ladder, so people are not even talking about it all that much. And it's not that we don't even have the numbers. We don't have the statistics around it. It's almost virtually non-existent. And it's not because we don't have mental illness. It's just that, no one's really talking about it. And so our problems are very different. It's about giving basic access to someone to meet a therapist, or even letting them know that you could actually meet someone, you don't have to suffer alone. And like you were saying, a label, in my part of the world, a label is for life almost. Things are improving, no doubt. Where the India where I studied about 20 years ago is very different from the India now. And things are definitely changing. But I know that labeling exists. And once you have a label, it's almost like a social death, with people sort of never being able to get out of that, So yeah, you're right. it's completely different situation in many parts of the world. And the idea has to be to push these people to seek help, because it's sad. There are people, there are professionals there who can help. It's almost like, there is vaccine available down the road for COVID, and you don't get it. It's that crazy. I mean, you would definitely go and get that, but when you don't want to meet someone just because of what other people would think, or what other people would say. Or the fact that even practical things like maybe not getting a job, or not being able to get married, so many things come into play when you sort of reach out to seek help. But things are changing. Definitely things are changing, and it's all for the good. But a lot more needs to be done for sure. It's sad, but true.
It is. And there is that stigma, there is those labels. And I remember when I first started talking about my mental health and my mental illness with depression, anxiety, and eating disorders, and I said I was in a mental hospital for a week, I can't tell you how many people reached out to me and were like, take that down. Do not tell people that. You're never going to get a job. You're not going to get into any more master's programs. No one's going to want to marry you. Like, what is wrong with you? Why would you say that? And I was like, I'm saying it because of your response. Because people respond like that, because it's not normal to have a mental health disorder, but it is normal. 1 in 5 people have a mental illness. It's not something new. It's not something crazy. It's not something different. It's something, and almost every person in their lifetime is going to have a depressive episode, an anxiety episode. It's not something that nobody goes through. It's something we all go through, and yet we're scared to talk about it.
Exactly. Treat it like any other illness. Treat it like you would treat a physical illness, Talk about it like cancer. Talk about it like arthritis or anything else, I think we should equate a mental illness or bring it up to that level of being equated with a physical illness, and
I agree.
Remove that stigma attached to getting help, and demystifying it. I think it also falls on us, the practitioners. There's nothing mystical about it. We should be the ones telling people what happens behind those closed doors. Once you are when you are with a therapist, there's so much mystery around it. People don't know. And if you don't know, you fear the unknown. If you don't understand, it's going to be really difficult for people to understand what's truly happening behind the closed doors. So it's up to us to talk about it, to spread awareness, to educate people.
Exactly.
And if we don't do it, who else? It's really up to us. It's up to, and I'm so glad young people like you, Francesca, you're doing an amazing, brilliant job, talking about it, and being empowered and empowering other people to talk about all that. So I'm great. There's hope because there are people like you. I'm really glad. I'm really happy.
Because people like us who want to normalize the conversation and help people see that they're not alone. It's so important to know that you're not alone. You're not the first person to go through this. You're not the last person to go through this. And there's so many people out there who've gone through it, who are willing to help you and support you in any way they can.
Yes.
And I always tell people, I'm like, you can reach out to me in my DMs. I was like, I may not be able to tell you exactly what's going to help you, but I can give you a list of coping mechanisms that I've used and suggest that you reach out to a crisis center or try to make an appointment at therapy. But
you could point them in the right direction at least, can't you? Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely. I mean, I'm a little wary of Insta therapy, or what
Instagram is not therapy. People need to realize that it doesn't replace therapy.
Exactly. And what the least we can do is things like this, where we have conversations, where we put out facts, evidence-based research out there for people to read.
I want to see sources when people post sources. Where are you getting your information from? What qualifies you to put this information out there? Don't guess. It's so important to not just guess.
Very true. And, just get people to be curious about reading more about mental health and pointing them towards the right direction. I think all that in a way definitely normalizes the conversation around mental health. Yes. Yeah.
And that's why I love conversations like these, because when I post it, a lot of times people reach out to me. They're like, thank you for sharing that, because I felt like I was alone, or I didn't realize that other people go through that, or I never looked at it that way. It's so amazing when we have these conversations and we're continuously having them, and people start watching and engaging and wanting to be part of the conversation.
Oh, yes. I love it when people engage on Instagram. It's not just about the likes or, good job. I mean, that's amazing. I just love that bit. But, when you go a little more than that, or even if not, even if I don't see it, I hope people who read our posts in general, find it, learn from it, or, understand a little better. So yeah, I'm glad we're doing that. Yes.
And if just one person reads one of our posts and it helps them in some way, I think that's the most rewarding thing in the world, just to know that you got to impact someone.
Totally. And sometimes the funny thing is, it's not even people you don't know. Like, once I started the page, I had so many acquaintances, family members, people who I would never otherwise speak about a topic like mental health, reach out, and it's absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad we have this platform to talk about sensitive topics like this. And the very fact that I am an Indian sitting in Oman. I currently live in a country in the Middle East called Oman. And I'm talking to you, and you're in Chicago, right?
I'm in Florida.
Florida. Oh, sorry. Okay. And the very fact that we can talk about something like this, and we're meeting for the first time, online. So that's amazing in itself. Yes.
It is amazing. And it's amazing to talk to people around the world and see where other countries are when it comes to mental health. Because in the United States, something I always say is we tend to be very focused on ourselves. And we tend to think, oh my God, we're in such a terrible place when it comes to mental health. We are in a terrible place, but we are in the best position. Yes. Compared to many countries, we are in, if we're not the best, we're in one of the best.
Totally,
and a lot of times we don't realize that other countries out there don't have the same access to resources to help, where there's even more of a stigma, where they're 10 to 20 years behind where we are when it comes to having these conversations on mental health. And by us engaging in these conversations and opening up discussions and learning more about where other countries are and what we can do to help, it makes such a difference.
Oh, yes, it truly does. I mean, just the fact that there is social media, I think, has improved it for a lot of countries. I mean, there are youngsters back home who have access to, information, and they are definitely much more self-aware than how when I was younger back home, because internet was then not a big thing. So definitely there's much more access, but the problem remains the same. There's still stigma, and we definitely need to do something about that. And the only thing is to talk about it, normalize the conversation, and educate people and spread awareness. I mean, just that's what we can do to, I guess, reduce the stigma. Yes.
I agree. Right. And you're right. Social media connects us to the whole world. We are all connected at the press of a button. So when we put information out there, it has to be the right information, because in a lot of places, people are really relying on social media and the information we put out there to help them and guide them in so many ways.
Exactly. Any kind of media, honestly, any kind of media, the way mental health is represented, even in movies, or in any sort of, in any way possible? I mean, I don't know. I was reading about the movie, I think it was in 2019, The Joker.
Yeah.
Did you watch that? I
did.
haven't. But apparently, I was just reading, there's a lot of talk about how mental illness, I think the main character has a mental illness, and how he's portrayed as being really violent, and how that sort of, it just makes the stigma even stronger
I
against
agree.
mental health. So it's things like these which what we can do is speak up about these things, bring it to others' awareness that it's going on, it's happening, it's not true, and talk to people who've had a mental illness, who have survived it, who are working through it, so that we have these real people tell you that I'm okay, I'm fine, I am able to manage things. So I think the whole idea should be demystifying it. There's talk about it, and be open, and I guess people will understand much better when that happens. Yeah,
exactly. And back to the Joker real quick. One of my biggest problems with that movie, and I thought he did a fantabulous job playing the Joker, and they did a really great job with the movie, but my biggest problem with it was afterwards how many people responded to it by saying, oh, it makes sense why he was violent now. Oh, he now makes sense to me because he had a mental illness. I'm like, no, that's not the lesson that you should get out of this movie.
Exactly, that's not the takeaway. Definitely no, not at all. Yeah. It's in India recently, we had a young actor who passed away. He had, he had depression, and I think he took his life. And, when I read that, obviously I was really upset because he was so young, but the media surround the, sort of information surrounding that whole event, it was absolutely chaotic. The information they gave away, it was misinformation. And, initially I thought, oh, this is going to get people to talk more about what we need to talk about. But instead, it became a circus wherein, the media was getting voyeuristic, and, people were having their own opinions, and they are not even mental health practitioners talking about it. In fact, it made the stigma even worse. And this is a recent event, and all thanks to the misrepresentations by the media. So, we have to be really careful how we view mental illness. View it like anything else. View it like, a physical illness. Yes.
One thing I like to say is, when you start struggling to see a little bit, you go to the eye doctor, you get a prescription for glasses, you wear the glasses, and no one judges you for it. If you go to a psychiatrist and you need medication, you need a prescription, everyone judges you for it. There's that stigma, that fear around it. When your teeth are crooked and you need braces, that's to go and get some support that helps you feel most comfortable and helps you be the best version of yourself, or however you want to call it. But when you go to therapy, it's the same thing. You need some support. It's a form of support. And we have so much stigma around it and so much judgment.
That's right. I remember even choosing psychology for my bachelor's in science. Just the fact that I had chosen psychology, to do psychology, that in itself had so much stigma around it, So, oh God, what all were we called? The word you use, psychos. We were known as psychos because we chose to study psychology, and the questions that people asked, like, can you read my mind right now? What am I thinking? All these are just, you can't really blame people because it comes out of a place of not knowing.
Exactly.
So there is a lot of that which we need to work on, obviously. the information, the right information out there, so that people stop asking these questions. It went on and on. I'm sure that's how it is. I don't know how bad it is there, but when you chose to do your master's in psychology, did you have any?
Applying to it now, and I do have a lot of comments like, are you sure really that's what you want to do? Do you really want to deal with like crazy people all day and listen to people's stories? I'm like, no one's crazy. We're all allowed to have struggles. We all have grief. We're all going to go through a point in our life where we're going to lose somebody close to us. That's part of life. We're all going to suffer some kind of trauma. It might not be a massive trauma, but there is some kind of traumatic event that's going to change us and shape us.
That's right.
And
We all. And the thing is, it's not just the social stigma. When it comes to self-stigma, when the beliefs about the societal beliefs start affecting you and influencing you, that is even worse. And you start believing these negative attitudes about yourself. And you think it's not worth seeking help. You're not worth it. You sort of have all these feelings of low self-esteem when it comes from within. So there's not just the social bit when it comes from within you. And that's really the sad part, when you have the self-stigma that makes it even worse. So we need to be aware of all sorts of things like that.
Me too. And I am so happy that the stigma around studying psychology did not interfere with your goal to do it, because you are such a blessing to the mental health community.
Thank you.
Such a positive source of light that helps so many people every day with your posts and your content. And you're always so supportive. You're always on my page commenting and just.
I try to be. Yeah. I'm really pleased with the small community I've found on Instagram. And, I feel like, unlike other topics, mental health, I think everyone's supporting each other. We are there for a reason. And, it's not to compare what the person is wearing or the makeup or how they look. It's very, very, the community is much more supportive. At least that's my opinion. And I love being on it. And thank you. I'm glad it got me to meet people like you and others. And I hope I can stick to it for some more time.
I hope so too, because you're so incredible. And I do love the mental health community, because nobody's like, I need to put out the best content. Everyone's like, I need to put out content. If somebody else has amazing content, I'm going to share it and encourage others to follow them and help them, because it's all about helping and educating and being a support team. Nobody's in competition against each other. And it's so amazing. And it's unlike anything else.
Exactly. And all the best to your, I hope you choose to do your master's in psychology, and you would be an asset. You are already an asset. And I hope you continue your work and talk about mental health and destigmatize it. Yes.
Hopefully I get accepted into a program.
I hope so too. Do let me know if you do or if you don't. But, be in touch.
I will. Thank you so much for joining me today. You're
welcome.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so happy to meet you, Francesca, and all the best, and sending you love. And hope we do this again someday.